but the little girls keep them as concubines for yourselves.
Where does that say like you're gonna have sex with a child?
What did they do with them? Go play chess?
What? Okay, ended the debate on Aisha's age. I'm a bit tired here. Woke up at 2 a.m. in the morning, so and I still have my scrubs on me
Is it true the
from
marriage happened at a young age?
my
Yes.
clinicals
Isn't this wrong?
earlier,
No.
so I'd already
How do you
look up
justify
to
this?
par, a
We
bit
don't. Instead, we'll
exhausted.
state the facts. First and foremost, there's a misconception that some Muslims believe Aisha was actually 18 or 19 and not 6 or 9 when she got married to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. However, according to the most widely accepted scholarly opinion, this is incorrect. Our mother Aisha, peace be upon her, has herself mentioned in a Sahih hadith that she was 6 when the marriage happened and 9 when it completed. Some modern scholars suggest the age in the hadith might be interpreted differently given the reasons of linking some historical events, binding with her sister's age, might conclude her age being older when the marriage consummated. As you can see, I'm not going too much in detail, as we can determine the age of our mother Aisha by examining 2 hadiths. The first hadith indicates that she never met Khadija, the first wife of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. This suggests that she was either too young to have met Khadija or was born after Khadija's death. This implies that she was definitely under a decade old, given her marriage took place 4 years after Khadija's passing. As for the second, Aisha, peace be upon her, says herself, I do not remember my parents believing any other religion than Islam, meaning she was born after Islam, pointing her age to be younger, more accurate. Let's now come to the question, why? Like why? Right? I'm not gonna phrase the whole question. You get it. This marriage didn't happen based on desires. Can we agree on this? Yes? Thank you. Why? Again, I always say this, if you don't know the book, you can't judge its cover. I never said this, by the way, but it's true. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, lived in a time when women looked nothing more than a tool or an object. I'll show you now a clip from the movie The Message about Prophet Muhammad's time, peace be upon him, and the general mindset of people at that time.
God made woman to be the proper companion of man. She is different, but equal.
Equal! We buy them. Feed them, clothe them, use them, discard them. Women
Equal to us?
Yeah, for these people it was normal to rape, harm, do adultery towards women. But for Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, this was wrong. He never attempted to act on these actions. He was al-Amin, and he didn't even marry or had intercourse with any woman until the age of 25 with his wife Khadija, which is odd, especially for the Arabs at that time, because hormones, as all as most men know, it is the top starting from puberty to 20s. Despite that, Muhammad, peace be upon him, controlled his desires till his marriage, even though he didn't have to. The reason he married the Aisha was, this was a command from Allah. In this hadith, who again narrated by our mother Aisha, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, telling her that he saw an angel twice in his dream, carrying Aisha before they got married. After seeing her, he says, if this is from Allah, then it must happen. Why? Right?
Okay, so, if we just take what the source says, I'm just going to take what the source says really and truly. Few things to note here. The fact that he actually had a prior wife before Aisha is very noteworthy. Christians kind of like to say that the prophet just had, hormonal desires for Aisha, but when you actually look at the prophet and his history, based on what we know, it's very uncharacteristic of him to, just based off what we know, and also the fact that he waited like that long. It really does say a lot, to be honest. It's equivalent to somebody saying, I have a body count of like 25 versus someone like me saying I've never kissed anyone before. There's just those things where it's like, it's really hard to, I gotta give it to the prophet. I do resonate with him in the sense of just not just throwing yourself out there. He didn't throw himself out there, plain and simple as that. is like what I said before. I mean, men can control themselves. It's just that no one isn't really pushing for men to control themselves enough. Simple as that. I do not understand. Everywhere in the world, my guy, every single society, you don't really see anyone trying to make men control themselves. It's always like, oh, the woman has to do this, the woman has to do that, the woman has to do the next if she doesn't want to attract the attention of men. And it's like, why don't you go teach to them to control themselves? Like, let's start there, right? I mean, the Prophet is a perfect example, which is hilarious because, I've been seeing so many Muslim girls complaining about how a lot of Muslim men are. Again, not all Muslim men. I've seen plenty of chill Muslim men who are not so caught up in their hormones. But again, it doesn't really like discard what I've been hearing from a lot of Muslim women, really and truly talk about Muslim men. It's like, how could you call yourself Muslim and be like that when your Prophet wasn't even like that? It's crazy.
Why Allah? There are two ways of answering this question. First being the wisdom. Aisha, peace be upon her, was very intelligent. She contributed Islam greatly by narrating over 2,210 hadiths, descriptions about how Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was both inside and outside of his home, what his character like, his actions publicly and privately. Many of these insights, known only to his close family, were narrated by her, offering invaluable guidance to the Muslim Ummah. Second response is, why not? We have to be fair and square here. No atheist, deist, agnostic, Christian has a right to judge this marriage with their 2020 plus world moral mentality. If someone expresses their own moral opinions on the matter of the subject, then it is subjective. It is not a fact. It is only how they feel. On the other hand, what is a fact is people only recently started to talk about this marriage between Aisha and Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And the reason is two. One, people's morals has been changed and became more liberal. Two, Islamophobes take advantage of this and attack the religion. This wasn't a topic that was hidden and only recently had been discovered. This was known by people, scholars, other empires, Muslims and non-Muslims for 1400 years. Only now it has become an issue because society has changed. Yet, even now, I'll show you a couple statistics. Let's take the US as an example. Today, the majority state's age of consent is 16. However, in the 1800s, not 500 years ago, nor 1,000 years, but only 2 centuries before, the age of consent in the US was 7 years old. Let's go to Europe. Some European countries currently have an age of consent as low as 14. However, in the 1800s, this was between 10 and 12. This was the norm only 2 centuries ago in our world. Now imagine the norm before 14 centuries. In our history, we see even royalties getting married under the age of 10. As for the time of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Yeah, of course. This was so common, bro. Like, this is why I literally just flat out was like, I literally defended the Prophet in this. I didn't really challenge this because there was nothing to challenge. I already said this before. Times were so different back then, bro. People didn't even live as long as they're supposed to live. I even mentioned how, like, around ages 9 to 12, your body is biologically ready to reproduce. Like, I'm sorry if this makes some people feel uncomfortable, but you can't say that's wrong. Like, you're literally saying that the biological process of your body is wrong. Come on now. So if your body is ready to reproduce at like 9 to 12, I mean, well, you're ready to reproduce. That's just how the body has it. That's how God made it to be. Now, the only like thing that, some people would probably say is, oh, but the brain doesn't stop growing until like 25. Like, oh, the frontal lobe doesn't stop growing until 25, right? And here's the deal with that, right? Even though that is very true, when you have a conscious, like you're conscious of what you're doing, at that point, bro, okay, okay, let me give this perfect example here. If a 12-year-old goes and consciously unalives someone because he didn't like him, are you gonna look at that 12-year-old and be like, oh my god, it's just a 12-year-old, it's just a 12-year-old guy, it's just a 12-year-old, just let him free? Meanwhile, he literally just unalived someone. Oh, but he's just no. You're gonna look at that and you're gonna be like, ah, hell nah. Like, you literally know what unaliving someone is. You thoughtfully processed that and you willfully went out and did it. It's the same. It's the same logic, bro. With like Aisha, bro. Like, especially in a time period like this, where you are forced to mature so much more quicker. And that's the problem with people today. People do not mature when they're supposed to mature. I brought this up plenty of times. I hate it when people say like, oh my gosh, man, like, oh, you're only 25 years old, bro. Oh, you're so young, you're naive, you still have a lot to learn. What? No, you're wasting time at that point, bro. I'm sorry to say. And this is coming from someone who's 21 years old, and thank God I was able to mature normally. Like I said before, when you are 19 years old, if you take the average lifespan, right? The average human default is set to basically live, according to science, most likely 75 to 76 years. That's like default pretty much according to science. If you do not like get into a sudden death, like let's say, I don't know, a car accident suddenly kills you, or something like man-made or something like that just unalives you, right? If you don't like, if you're able to just live and just age, like according to science, most people just have that default age of 76 before their body just is like, okay, I'm gonna, die, right? That's most people, unless you're really genetically gifted, where your body just has more years of it. You're most likely gonna just die around 76 years old. Let's be real. You can even see this too, actually, where like the oldest woman in the world, who's like 120. You look at her diet, right? She was eating so much junk food. She was smoking, and she didn't even work out. But she's 120 years old, right? Like, that's pure genetics, my guy. Meanwhile, we got so much people working out, exercising, eating good, proper diets. Yet, as soon as they hit that number of around 70 years old, 76 years old, they just, boom, they kick the bucket, they're gone. Genetics, it's all genetics. If you want to have a good idea of how long this might apply to you, just look at your grandparents and see how old they are. If your grandparents are way over like that number 76, most likely like they're above, like they lived way past 76. Most likely you're going to live past 76 if you don't cause anything like man-made to unalive you, right? Like, still though, although still having a diet, a good proper diet, does still matter. Like, it does still matter, even though like that woman who's the oldest woman in the world recordedly, she all she did was smoke and drink and all that. So there is that caveat, because you could still eat a poor diet and you could still cause yourself to like get cancer or heart disease or something like that. So no, I'm not just saying this to tell you guys that, oh my gosh, stop working. No. Like, that is still very much important. But like I said though, if we look at the average lifespan, right, 76 years old for most people, that like when you're 19 years old, you're 25% dead, right? And, I said this before, but it's still relevant here because it's so important for people to hear this. 25% dead. You are 1/4 dead. 1/4 of your life is gone. For some people, it's much shorter, and they don't even know. This is why I say when you're 18, you're an adult. You're an adult. You're aware of what you're doing. You're aware of all your actions at that point. Anything past that point is on you at that point. This is why we never see people who are like in their 30s talking about some, man, I still got a lot to learn. Like 30 isn't even that old, which 30 is not old. 30 is not old, but it's like you're 30 years old and yet you still haven't learned experiences that you should have learned in your late teenage years, in your early 20s. Like, bro, people can easily mature quick, is my point. People can easily mature quick to where they're supposed to be. Like, I'm 21 and people always like to say, you don't act your age. You don't act your age. You act like a 45-year-old. You're like a 45-year-old in a young person's body. Bro, it's because I didn't sit my butt around and wasted time. That's the thing. People just waste time and they don't care to learn. Then they end up like 28 years old and they have a mindset of a freaking 15-year-old. When they could have easily just sat down, reflected upon themselves, better themselves. I'm mature how they're supposed to be, but they don't take the time to do that. People just take life for granted. People just waste time on the most stupidest things that they don't learn. So back then, in this time period, where you didn't have time to waste, number one, because the lifespan was so much shorter, number one. Number two, life was so much harder back in these times that you were forced to quickly learn what you were supposed to learn in order to mature. You weren't privileged. You see, people are privileged, at least in the West anyways, and in some other parts of the world. People are just privileged where they could just sit their butts around for literal years and they don't really have to worry about life lessons. That's called being privileged. Back then, it wasn't like that. You had to learn right off the get-go. God, you know what this reminds me of? Like, bro, I saw this like one lady who posted something about, bro, this woman was well within her 30s, right? And she was talking about how, like if she's pregnant, like she feels awkward around her father because, her father seeing her pregnant knows that she had intercourse. And I'm like looking at this shit and I'm like, what? You're 30 years old, over 30 years old, and you feel awkward around your father for being pregnant because that just simply means you had intercourse. What are we doing? 30 years old, having a whole baby, bringing another baby into the world, and still hasn't mentally matured to being a 30-year-old. Her mindset is still like a kid, because only kids, bro, only immature kids would look at that and be like, oh my God, guys. Oh my God, they did the thing, guys. They did it. Oh my God, guys. Oh my God. A normal adult would just look at that and be like, yeah, that's a part of life. It's crazy, bro. Like a lot. And you know what's like really scary? A lot of people die before ever mentally like maturing how they're supposed, like completely. I'm not even kidding. Some people just have straight up arrested mental development. I've heard stories I've talked about it in my Sita reactions of like what I've heard from people who are like around like dying people. Like, oh my, I'm not gonna talk about that here, but a lot of people will genuinely reach a certain point in their adolescent years where mental their mental health slash mental state just stops developing, and they're just like that until they die. I've seen it. I've seen the oldest people at like they're 16 years old. It's mine, yo. Oh my god, that's a different. Yo, I could tell you a story right now, but I'm not gonna tell you a story right now.
His enemies, the polytheists.
All I'm saying is like this is not a big deal. Like Muhammad with Aisha is not a big deal. Aisha was already mature, despite her physical age.
Used to slander him, calling him a liar, a magician. They sought every opportunity to attack his image. Nevertheless, they never once mentioned his marriage with Aisha, because this was normal. It wasn't the one who initially proposed marriage. Rather, a woman named Khawla, known also for matchmaking in the past for others, was the one who recommended Aisha to Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, because this was normal. Before Aisha got married to Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, she was already engaged with someone else. And again, this proves that this was normal. So they broke the engagement, then married to Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him. Instead, one might raise an eyebrow and ask, why was it normal for people before 1800s to get married so young? Were they all PDF files? The answer would be, well, take a chill pill and let's not jump to conclusions. We need to understand those were different times, cultures, and people. Back then, 6 or 9 years old were maturing much faster due to the hardships in their life. In contrast, a 10 years old today spends all day playing games on their phone, with their biggest concern being their homework. They are not the same people, maybe the same body, but not the same mind. This is why Islam doesn't specify an age of consent. It is part of Allah's wisdom. If such a specific age were set, it would have not been appropriate for every society. Then the question pops up. Is it permissible in Islam for someone to marry what would be considered a young girl by today's standards? Short answer, no. Because of two reasons. First, the conditions have to meet for two people to get married in Islam. There has to be mutual consent. Supported from the hadith, a maiden should not be given in marriage except after consulting her, and a virgin should not be given in marriage except after her permission. And the second reason is, Muslims has to follow the laws of the land that they're living in, as long as it doesn't lead to haram. And the hadith of Prophet Muhammad, peace upon him, said, the Muslims will be held to their conditions, except the conditions that make the lawful unlawful, or the unlawful lawful. Meaning the permissibility of marrying before the age of 10 today in Islam is extremely rare. Not only because it's illegal in most countries, but also the individuals today generally take longer to mature, making it unlikely for them to consent to marriage at such a young age. And this was the last cherry on the cake. We cooked. Alhamdulillah. This is the reality of our history. People change, society change, morals change, but what will stay is the guidance of Allah. It's up to you to either take it or leave it.
So this is a commentary on the laws of England by William Blackstone. Third edition from the 1700s, 1768. A female, also at 7 years of age, may be betrothed or given in marriage. At 9, is entitled to dowry. At 12 years of age of maturity, and therefore may consent or disagree to marriage. So they can be given at the age of 7, according to British law in the 1700s. And in this one in particular, this is a commentary on the laws of England, the 1800s. So we have to ask, why is it the age? What happened between then, in this book, where a female at the age of 7 could be betrothed, to today? Something happened to change the way we see this idea or this concept of childhood.
Yeah, you know, me like European kings had like, oh my gosh, I got so used to that. Like, the amount of European kings that had like literal preteens as wives, fiancés. It's
with the whole age of Aisha radiallahu anha thing. So the most important thing that they need to ask here is, what is it that changed over the past 100 years to make this a controversy? Now, can you share my screen? No, it's just a really
I know.
subject. Right. So this is a commentary on the laws of England by William Blackstone. Yeah, it's a really expensive book, right? But it's as it's suggested, It's a book on a commentary on the laws of England, third edition from the 1700s, 1768. Yeah. Now, what does it say? All right. So this is it in more detail. I think this is the commentary on the laws of England, William Blackstone, in 4 books. I'm not sure of the date of publications on this one. So this is 1893 copy of the same book. Yeah. And this is page 463, and it's on the rights of persons. And it says the following: let us consider the ward of person within age for whose assistance and support these guardians are constituted by law, or who it is that it is said to be within age. The ages of males and females are different for different purposes. A male at 12 years old can take an oath of allegiance, at 14 years of discretion, and therefore may consent or disagree to marriage, may choose his guardian, and if his discretion be actually proved, make his testament of his personal estate. At 17, maybe an exeter, blah, 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 so on and so forth. A female, also at 7 years of age, may be betrothed or given in marriage. At 9, is entitled to dowry. At 12 years of age of maturity, and therefore may consent or disagree to marriage. So they can be given at the age of 7, according to British law in the 1700s. And in this one in particular, this is a commentary on the laws of England at the 1800s. So
19th century.
Right. So now we have to ask, right? And this isn't, by the way, specific to English law. This is like, where did the current laws come from? Why is it that we say the age of 16 in the UK, or the age of 21 in Korea, or the age of 12 in Japan, or whatever age it is, wherever you go in, it seems to be quite different. So we have to ask, why is it the age? What happened between then, in this book, where a female at the age of 7 could be betrothed, to today?
Betrothed. Say betrothed.
Whatever. You get what I'm saying?
No, I know.
But the point is that
Bro, you gotta be
change the way we see this idea or this concept of childhood. Now, coincidentally, this is also
Just so happens.
This also
He's been preparing all evening for this.
Honestly,
No.
no wonder he's been backstage.
No, I have to have this conversation so much, so it's just like it's in my head. So
Oh yeah, let me in. I didn't see your message. Go on, carry on.
right, so this happens to be round about the same time as the Industrial Revolution, and you've got this boom, of the working environment becoming more and more and more complex, more so than it ever has been before. And there becomes a necessity to have a populace that has a higher level of education. And they start to introduce public schooling, which is compulsory and free, in the early 1900s, round about the same time, where the legal age limit is increased. And coincidentally, the legal age happens to be at the end of that public education system. So the question is it that there's something magic about the age of 16, or is it that the public education system is something that requires them to focus on that, and that marriage or having children is something that takes them away from it? Is it about the fact that they shouldn't be having sex? Because they also teach us in the same schooling system how to have sex. When I was in year 6, they were showing us videos of a weird naked family that walked around the house without any clothes on.
I remember that video.
I'm not even joking. Like year 6, I remember it. I was in Radcliffe Hall, and they put this video on, and we all had a barrel of laughs because we was like, whose family walks around?
Do you remember that, Hamza? Do you remember that video?
No, before my time.
Well, I mean, you know, I was a kid when that happened, and I lowered my gaze and didn't watch it because
I was not a Muslim. I didn't lower my gaze, and I was laughing my head off. And we were all thinking, what are we watching? In year 7, they were teaching girls how to put condoms on bananas. So they're fully, and keep in mind.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I remember that too. Like, literally, around the similar time period. Like 8th grade year, 7th grade. I need to keep it younger, but my memory's fake. I do remember though, like around that time of 12 years old to 13 years old, 11 years old ish, maybe even younger. I mean, guys, even in Barbados, man. I mean, even in Barbados, right? In primary school / elementary school, whichever you call it, they were bringing that topic up. I mean, you heard me if you watched my few videos past week where, you know, I was 7 years old, where my teacher was teaching us religious studies, and he was talking about how God purposely created sex to be a beautiful thing, and you know how our 7-year-old brains was like, oh my God, like, you know what I mean? Like, point is, like, yeah, like this stuff is literally like introduced at such a young age anyways. Like, be so for real with me right now, right? Unfortunately, we just live in a time period. My God, guys, I am so sleepy. Like, I'm pretty sure when I'm done recording this video, I am going to pass out. Like, oh, you can like see it in my eyes too how tired I am. But damn, oh, I just was exhausted all day today. But I should have drank that coffee. I didn't drink any coffee. Damn, whatever. Unfortunately, we just live in the age where people just are not maturing when they're supposed to. Just simple as that. Just simple as that, unfortunately. So people, I mean, guys, we have, oh my God, I see people who are saying that a 1-year age gap is weird. A 1-year age gap, bro. Unironically saying that a 1-year age gap is weird. Like, how? Like, yo, I swear on Jesus' name, they were being so unironic. I see so many people that think a 1-year age gap is weird. How much have people devolved to the point where we are now thinking, some people anyway, some people are thinking a 1-year age gap is weird. A freaking 1-year age gap. Crazy work, bro. It goes like that isn't just lack of development in your head, because bro, if you're a person and you think a 1-year age gap in dating is weird, bro, yeah, you're not normal. Your development clearly is not normal. You clearly don't have a normal brain. But it goes to just show you how just society have been devolving. I swear to God, people have been devolving. I don't know if it's just me, but within the past 10 years, 10 years ago, people were not like so like how they are now, right? You know, like just ugh. But I noticed within the past 10, I'm what, 21? Yeah. 10 years, bro. Within the past 10 years, there's been this cognitive decline. People have just gotten more worse. Like, I vividly, even though I was an 11-year-old kid, bro, like, I vividly remember, bro, like 10 years ago. I don't know if it's like this for y'all as well, but like there's been a shift within people. It's insane. Like, wow.
Why is it that you've got primary school and high school? Why are these two different sets of people separated? What is it that makes them distinct? Well, it happens to be the fact that they start puberty around that age, and so they become different. And we have this is a really good book. It's called Teenage by John Savage, and he talks about the invention of the teenager. This concept, this idea of teenager, it didn't exist. People were children, and when they hit puberty, they became adults. And in England, like it was anywhere else, the second you became as a man, if you hit puberty, you were a man. You were taken to the mines. You were made to shovel coal. You went to the factories. You worked. You began to contribute because there was no public education system. You just had to get involved. You couldn't be completely dependent forever, because as a dependent, you're a sponge upon those you are dependent upon. You suck up their resources. And especially around the world for God knows how long, that has always been a difficult environment. And so whenever men could start to contribute, they sent them out to work so they could earn an income, so they could contribute towards their cost of living. And with regards to the girls, it was easier to have someone else look after them. So people were wedded early in their age, because then they could become someone else's responsibility, and someone else has to then fork out to pay for them. So it's very common to get wedded early, not to wait until, and what they're supposed to do, if you've got no public education system and there's nothing else, they're just supposed to play for 16 to 20 years. Just walk around and just eat food and not contribute anything at all. Of course not. It's always been this way. And then what happened was you had the introduction of the automobile, and the automobile completely revolutionized. Honestly, it sounds
long history, bro.
It sounds random, but it makes everything click. The automobile transformed schooling. Schooling used to be small houses, where people lived where their school was. They weren't far away from it, and it was just a tiny building, and the teacher lived on the estate and knew all the kids. And then the automobile made it so that you could have high schools, which were very, very large areas, or huge schooling systems, which contained thousands of people, thousands of children, thousands of students, and they were run by a handful of adults, and they could bring them in from all over the town into this one into this one place. Whereas usually you would just stay in your local area. They came in from all over the place, and this gave rise to subcultures, where the teenagers started to develop their own way of being. And in America in particular, teenagers started getting access to the automobiles themselves, and they could start practicing promiscuity away from their local environment, where they didn't have to worry about the consequences. So they'd start courting, and you get things that, like grease lightning. Grease lightning is you've never seen grease lightning, Rumsey?
Everybody's seen grease lightning, bro.
Are you talking about Greece?
Grease.
I'll be honest, man. I don't know stuff like that.
Go grease lightning.
It's called Grease, not Grease Lightning.
Yeah, well, the song, I'm just
Song's called Grease.
And also, this is also something that I've always found very strange. Even the age of 18 years old, right? It's the more I think about it, the more I just have to laugh, because I've always thought this as a kid. When you're 18, people will say oh, it's based on your development, bro. It's based on your development. It's based on your development, bro. But yet when you're 18, you're still growing. So it's I always used to think, hold on a second. If we go by this logic of, it's based on your development and, how mature you get by the time you're 18. When you're 18, you basically fully develop. That's not true. People unironically think that when you're 18 years old, you are fully developed. Guys, I was not 6'3" when I was 18, or almost 6'3". I was not 6'3". I was 5'11" when I was 18. I wasn't even 6 feet. I didn't reach my final growth spurt until like, what was it? I didn't stop growing until like what? $19 or 20? Like, I think 19. Yeah, it's either 19 or early 20. Keep in mind, I'm 21, right? And that's just for height. Like I said before, your brain is still growing. Your brain doesn't even stop growing until 25, according to what studies have shown, right? So I'm like, hold on a second. With this logic, shouldn't that mean that you should be an adult, like legally classified as an adult at 25, not 18? But like what he said, you're not gonna have people running around here 25 years doing nothing. Absolutely not. I honestly think that it's all based off when you're like fully conscious of your actions, right? Like I said at the start of the video when I brought up that point, if you see a freaking 12-year-old willfully unalive somebody, you're not going to look at that person and say, oh my God, you're a 12-year-old. No, you're going to look at that person. You're going to be like, no, you know what you were doing. You know what it means to unalive somebody. You need to go to jail. Or in some cases, you need to be executed. Straight up, no debate. Like, I would never see anybody talk about freaking, oh my God, but he was just a kid. Nope. But every single time, oh my God. And you know, this might give me some backlash here, but I don't really care, to be honest. But anytime it's a situation where a guy is like older than the girl, and it's not even like a crazy age gap, maybe like a 3-year age gap, or at worst like 4 years, right? Where the girl, I mean, a lot of, oh my God, I've even had this happen to me, guys. A lot of women will just lie about their age. A lot of women will straight up lie about their age. I'm talking like young women that are supposed to be so innocent. She hasn't developed yet. But she has enough of a conscience to lie about her age. Because if she knows, if she says her true age is younger than what she actually is, then Ultra Giga Tyrone, Ultra Giga Chad, who she wants to screw her, because that's why these girls do it, let's be real here, it's going to obviously go away. So she's going to just lie about her age. I've had this happen to me twice. And this is actually one of the main reasons why I decided to just look at older women. Because, you know, I'm like, okay, yeah, they're older than me. They're 100% grown. I don't got to worry about that shit. You don't... And guys, I said in my previous video... Was it my previous? No. Like 2 days ago, I was like, yo, like, women want sex more than men. Like, a lot of these so-called innocent girls would literally lie about their age, blink of an eye, as long as the guy is attractive enough just to get a chance to screw him. And it's like, it's ridiculous, because whenever I see a case like this where the guy gets arrested because he didn't know what her real age was, finds out about it, you know, unfortunately for him, he ends up having intercourse with her. Everyone is blaming him. Oh, how did you not know? Oh my gosh, that's your responsibility. Yet ain't nobody looking at the girl who willfully, knowingly, consciously made the conscious decision to lie about her age, made the conscious decision to screw him. It's like nobody never looks at that. It's crazy the mindset of people today. It's bizarre. It's so bizarre to me. But like I was saying, I believe that this isn't about how, when you're done growing and when you're done developing. I think this is honestly about how, like, maturity is, my personal opinion is, maturity is determined by how conscious are you. It's hard for me to talk because I'm sleepy. Like, what's your conscience? When you're conscious of your actions, bro, you're I mean, it's for your game at that point. You're aware. You're self-aware. That's why a baby, you go grape a baby. Obviously that's wrong. I'm talking like a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old. It's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, absolutely not. Why? Because the baby, obviously, is a baby. It's not self-aware. The baby's still innocent. The baby isn't even conscious of its decisions or actions. I mean, you can't even remember your memories of your like first 3 years ish of your life, right? So obviously, like with that, it's like, absolutely not. But when you're like 12 years old, 13 years old, I mean, hell, starting at 9 years old, when you reach that point where puberty starts, bro, that's not the point where, you're really and truly, like, you're really becoming more self-aware and, like, you're really starting to know, like, my actions have consequences. You know what lying does. That's the age where you're like, I'm gonna lie about this. I'm gonna consciously make a decision to lie about this. And that, like I said, when you start reaching that point where you're all like that, bro. I mean, it's like, well, you know what you're doing at that point. Now, like I said, add in the fact that society, right, doesn't really like back then society really forced people to, not only were they conscious, but society and the hardships back then made that conscience even more prevalent to where they were like, oh shit, I need to get my head in this right now, right? Or I could quite literally get myself killed. Or, people weren't living long. I mean, people were witnessing people losing their lives and stuff, bro. Quite commonly. Like, it was like, oh my God, like, this is serious. So not only did they develop this consciousness like 9 to 12 years old, anyways, they were witnessing all of this like horrific stuff going on that really really pushed them into like, basically it's like the cherry on top of the cake, if that makes sense. So they were basically functioning people at that point. Oh, but bro, they still had time to grow. Like I said, when you're 18 years old, you're still growing. So what's the difference between that and being 18? Because when you're 18 years old, you're still growing, but you're legally classified as an adult. A police officer could pull up right now, arrest you as an adult. He won't care. No, but you're still growing, bro. And that's not how the law is going to view you. It's like, dude, this is honestly just such a man-made concept. Oh my God. Oh my God, guys. Like, you're still growing. Such a man-made concept.
Greece. But Rumsey's, how old are you, Rumsey?
21.
Bloody hell. Make me feel old in one word. Or is that 2 words? Does it count as 2 words?
I'm thinking of Greece too now.
Bro, you are 21 and you look like you are in your 30s. What the hell?
I like reproduction. Reproduction. Anyway, carry on.
Right, but the point is, yeah, that the Industrial Revolution completely transformed a lot of things. It allowed for people to become dependent for longer. Yeah, so there's this extension of childhood because people could just they could begin to afford to live with their parents for long periods of time. They had they were sort of forced into it because the parents didn't have a choice now. They had to send the kids to this public education. It was compulsory, hence the fact that you don't have a choice. And it was free. So they went there and they weren't able to start contributing. And obviously there was reasons for that because the working environment was more complex. So you needed people with a basic education in mathematics and blah, 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 and whatever else. Because it became a necessity that wasn't present prior to the 1900s to the degree that it was in the 1900s. And so this extended dependence changed the way we see teenagers. But that doesn't mean that they're not adults because we still treat them a certain way. We still teach them how to engage in this behavior, but we say, just do whatever you can to make sure that you don't end up pregnant. Go ahead, engage in sexual activity, but use condoms, use the pill, use contraception. They're fully aware that people at this age are engaging in that activity. It's not like they're not. So what's going on? Like, is it the case that it is in and of itself they shouldn't be doing this? Because if it is, then we should be teaching them abstinence, but we're not doing that. We're teaching them how to engage in these behaviors and how to do it safely. So they're fully aware that these people are engaging in this, that at that age, that's when they start to become attracted to the opposite gender. And they start doing these things. And if you go back in time and you have people hitting the age of puberty, becoming attracted to the opposite gender, wanting to engage in this activity, and they didn't have free compulsory public...
Eva, you want to know when I personally started becoming attracted to the opposite gender? You want to take a guess of how old I was? Do you? Just, I don't know. I was 7 years old. Seven years old. I will never forget the moment that first triggered me. I don't know if everyone remembers their first moment when they first get triggered, but I will never forget the moment, but I'm not going to say it right now. Funny story.
Public education, what else are they going to be bloody doing? Especially if adultery or having sex outside of marriage everywhere in the UK, across Europe, was considered completely immoral. Obviously, when they start hitting that age, they're going to be getting married off. They're not going to be like, yeah, go have a boyfriend. So, like, you can't just talk about this in terms of, oh, well, we see it wrong now. Why do we see it wrong? What is it that's changed? It's the fact that we now treat these people as children for longer. And because we do that, we look at them differently. We don't look at them in the same way that people did throughout history. And and to be honest, even now, I've seen 25-year-olds and I look at them and I'm like, you're a kid, I know teenagers that are more adult than you. You get some of these lads that come over from Syria, yeah, and they've had a crappy life and they're young, yeah, and they're not these ones that are pretending to be young. Like my brother, when he was in year 9, yeah, and you can't say, oh, he's some
14 years of age, for those who don't know.
Yeah, 14 years of age. He was man-sized. He used to go and get us alcohol at the shop, and no one would question it because he was a big lad. His balls dropped early, and he was, you know what I mean. Sorry, but he was a big man. He'd hit puberty.
Wait, what do you mean exactly?
I'm not going to go into it, but basically his voice his voice deepened. Yeah,
that was funny.
What happened was there was him and 2 other lads in his year that were man-sized. And they used to join the rugby team and they dominated. And the reason was because they didn't have men-sized kids like him in their year in all the other schools. And so when they went to a match, the parents would kick off and say, what are you doing bringing men? This is supposed to be like year 9s. And they had to start bringing identification. And at the end of the year, they had this like victory video because they just smashed it, and there was just nothing any of the other teams could do. And there was a video off my brother with a rugby ball, and he's got like one kid on one leg, another kid on the other leg, two kids trying to pull his arms and pull him down, another guy's like on his back trying to weigh him down, and my brother's just walking with these 5 kids, and they can't do nothing. They could do absolutely nothing, and he passed as a man. So, like, it's not that deep. Yeah. Well, it is, because I just went on a huge tangent connecting like 50 million different things. But it's something to think about. Yeah. That when you come with these objections, that you need to ask, what is it that changed the way we look at these people? And if you were in that time, would you have looked at them as children, or would you have sent them to the mines to make sure they were contributing to the food bills and to the rent and to the this and to the that? Because I can guarantee you that 99.9999999.
Bro, you literally had like literal 5-year-old, 7-year-old kids working in literal chimneys in Britain, which was super deadly during the Industrial Revolution. I mean,
9% of the time, you're going to be sending them off to work and contribute, because there was no public education. And it's this softening of a society because of all this ability for luxury that makes us see people as younger than they are. So when you've got a 25-year-old who lives in his mum's basement, has never really stepped out of his house, hasn't contributed, doesn't work, doesn't pay any bills, he's immature. Yeah, and there's plenty of examples of this. You see them all over the bloody internet, throwing a tantrum because mum didn't make him a bloody sandwich. Like, there are big kids, adult kids that exist now because they're still in a state of dependence where mummy and daddy still provide for them in every way, and they don't have to go to work, they don't have to do anything. And so this immaturity remains in them. Whereas if you look at like my brother, or if you look at someone like these kids from Syria that come from hard environments, they grow up rapid, they become men quickly. If you want to go visit Syria, go visit Pakistan or Afghanistan, these kids that live in the mountains, and you'll feel like a kid when you're stood next to them. Or Palestine, go to Palestine, you'll see teenagers that are more men than you are. So you have to consider this. And then on top of that, you want to go into a deeper level. You need to bring a meta ethics. Yeah, if you're going to say this is wrong or this is immoral or blah 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 blah, like, you need to provide definitions of what you consider justice to be, what is good, what is evil. Half of the time you push people on this and it's just like, but it's, it makes me feel funny, it feels wrong. All right, we get it, we all live in the bloody 21st century, and I grew up in the same environment you did, and when I was coming into Islam I had the same obstacles. I get the feeling, but the question is it justified? How does it make sense holistically, taking all of these points into consideration? Bish bash bosh, there's my rant over. Sorry.
Beautiful rant. Liked it. Learned so much. I like the idea of what changed from the 19th century.
But it's important because no one ever talks about that bit.
No, it is, because no one cared about the age of Aisha before the 19th century.
So you said
it was the going rate.
In essence, what?
It's classic double standards. Simple as that. Like I say, European kings were marrying people. English kings were marrying people left, right, and center that were super duper young. Bro, where's my fidget toy? I grabbed the wrong thing. I grabbed my phone. My fidget toy is like all the way over there. I'm kind of like lazy to go get it. But it's just double standards, bro, because this is such a common thing in Europe as well. Like, come on now. This is why I say, like, Christian sources, man. Christian sources. Whenever I try to hear, like, the Christian POV on Islam, it's unbearable to hear. It's not objective. It's not objective. It's never objective at all. Okay. gonna have a hard sleep after this video is done. I might honestly just go on sleep, wake up, then edit the video and post it. Guys, I'm trying so hard to stay awake. You have no idea. Ooh. What was I saying? Ugh. Right. The double standards is absurd. It's stupid. The Christians just... Oh my god, dude. People need to just sit down and be more objective. Just, bro. Isn't the whole point of all of this is like to make sure that we're all on the right path? We all have the correct understanding, so we all make the best choices based on what we understand. Isn't that it? And it's even worse in the fact that in the past 100 years, male testosterone levels have been dropping. In the past 100 years, male semen count, aka sperm count, has been dropping. Basically, men are becoming less masculine. Because of modern society. Modern society have messed everything up. Thank God. You know it's crazy, right? You'll hear me in my videos say like, oh, I'm a genetic miracle, blah 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 blah. Like I'm literally like a beyond average person in terms of how I am physically, how I look physically, right? I mean, in the video 2 days ago, you saw me put my show my bone density that I have, which, you know, I'm missing some bone density, right? And all that. People, like, this is how a man is supposed to be. Like, 100 years ago, like, all these features, like wisdom teeth, man. Wisdom teeth, right? Modern society have changed diet habits so much that wisdom teeth became obsolete. That people aren't even growing wisdom teeth anymore. Some people are just being born without wisdom teeth. People's skulls have literally shrunk. Literally shrunk. That they cannot even hold wisdom teeth anymore because of modern softer diets. However, me, I all my wisdom teeth came in. They all came in straight. You know, it's funny because as a kid, I would always dread, like, oh my god, like, you know, my wisdom teeth is gonna grow in, and, you know, I'm gonna have to get it removed. All these people, you know, telling their stories about their wisdom teeth surgery. I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna be me one day. And the whole time, you know, as I just grew up, I'm like still thinking like, oh, my wisdom teeth just simply hasn't grown in yet. Whole time my wisdom teeth grew in, but they were regular teeth. Yeah, I just didn't even notice them. I was using them the entire time. I was just thinking, oh, these are just my regular upper molars. And then when I went to the dentist, because I had a mouth infection, like back in March, that was the most painful thing ever. A mouth infection caused by one of my wisdom teeth. And I was like, oh my god, this is it. This is it. They're finally growing in. And I thought that extreme pain, probably the most painful thing I've experienced in my life, debatably. I'm like, okay, I gotta get it extracted. Boom, this is it, right? Whole time, you know, when I went to the dentist, they were laughing. The dentist was laughing her butt off because she was like, "Oh, did you come here because you thought you had to get your wisdom teeth removed?" She's like, "Oh no." She's like, "They grew in perfectly fine. You don't need to get it removed. Just make sure they're clean." She said what happened was that due to the fact that wisdom teeth are difficult to clean and reach because they're all the way at the back of your mouth, she's like, yes, sometimes there's just awkward positions that food and debris can just end up. That it's not your fault, even if you brush properly, like it can end up causing like an infection in your mouth. And she said that's basically what happened with me. But she's like, nah. She's like, just make sure you clean more thoroughly next time. And, you know, get your checkups, your regular dental checkups, so they could keep your wisdom teeth clean so you don't ever have to worry about getting them removed. And I was like, what? Like, that right there, that was when I realized, like, that moment was when I really realized, like, okay, yeah, my genetics are something different. Like before that point, I realized like I always thought like, okay, you know, I'm a bit abnormal, but you know, I always still like kind of like viewed myself as, okay, I'm a little bit abnormal, but I'm still like comparable to an average person. You know, I'm still within that range. But like after that point, I was like, yeah, nah. Because literally, majority of people literally have to get their wisdom teeth removed. Like their mouths are too small to hold it. The fact that not a single one had to be removed because my jaw was big enough to hold it all. Like I said, I showed you my X-ray of my jaw in the 2 days ago. But 100 years ago, though, people, that was the norm. People with that type of jaw, that was the norm. Like, so really and truly, the thought of that I had of myself being like normal is true. That's true. Probably like a good 100 years ago. If you put me 100 years ago, you know, I would probably, I don't know, because I saw some pictures of people from like that time period. I'm like, ugh, Jesus. I don't know. I'm probably just, like I said before in my like 2 days ago, like I'm probably just a genetic miracle, like I said it was, but it was more common though to have thicker skulls, thicker jaws, all of that. Wisdom teeth was growing in like regular teeth, no problems there. But modern society, modern diets, and modern habits have completely changed that. That's why I'm saying all of this. It's going to be interesting to see what my kids are going to have. Because I don't know if they're going to completely inherit these godly genetics that I have right now. It's very interesting to see if their wisdom teeth is going to, if their jaws are going to be thick enough and big enough. Because I saw both sides of my family, bro. Like, I saw my grandfather on my paternal side, which is how I'm European, by the way, because my great grandfather was European. I saw my grandfather. I mean, this guy's old, but like his jaw is just like big and thick as hell. I saw my other grandfather, the same thing too. He's younger, but his jaw is big, very big, thick. But like I said, our grandparents' generation though, that's supposed to be the norm. So it's like, what? It's just mind blowing how much has changed between our grandparents' generation to us now, that so many people just have such lower testosterone, weaker jaws, just a whole bunch of things, bro.
Morality and progress of morality and these debates and arguments. What
bro? I need my
working environment and capitalism.
I need my fidget toy.
A need for a higher.
This would help me so much right now.
And a necessity in having them enter the education system for a longer period of times. And there was also a massive incentive capitalistically speaking, to introduce women into the workforce as well, because that added more competition to the labor, which meant that the wages could be reduced. And women were cheaper labor at that time as well.
That's true, by the way.
Can you please explain the Prophet Muhammad's marriage to Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, in the context of her maturity?
Of course. I think this question is older than all three of us, quite frankly, on this panel. So very simply, recently, I've come out with a little bit of a statement. I've been trying to get it to stick to some people in terms of when they ask this question. So I'll ask them, okay, you believe her, or you believe Aisha radiallahu anha when she says that she was 6 and 9? Naturally, they'll say, oh yeah, I definitely believe that. Anything to throw some under the bus, right? So then the question I follow up with is, okay, well, do you believe her when she says that in her time period, any girl who had reached the age of 9 was considered a woman? And then they stop and think and they say, oh, well, I've never heard of that before. Or I've never seen this statement from her before. Or they'll say, oh, no, I don't. So then the question will follow, well, why would you accept it when she...
Bro, even the Bible legitimately says, like, you have understanding, like, you have full understanding when you're 8 years old. It said either 8 years old or 7 years old. I didn't know this because my mom would always tell me this when I was like an 8-year-old, 7-year-old. She would be like, oh, you are... Was that 8 years old or 7 years old? I don't even remember. It's one of those ages, but it's like, oh, you are 8 years old or 7 years old. You have understanding of what you're doing and your actions and all that. So
this is one thing, but you don't accept her when she says the other. Or by what criteria or what measure are we going by here to determine who is considered a child and who is considered an adult? And quite frankly, many of the people who ask this question are not atheists, to be quite frank. It's mainly Christians who ask this or try to, target the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his marriage to our beloved mother, Aisha radiallahu anha. The problem with this is that they don't actually go based off of a particular criteria that would be, equitable both to our religion as well as their own. Our criteria, obviously, we know that there are 4 particular things in which a woman or man, right? Because it's not just for women, in terms of reaching puberty or seeing the signs of puberty. So for example, the showing or the growing of pubic hair for both individuals, right, is a very strong indication that one is attaining the age of puberty. Another indication, as the scholars have stated, is that of wet dreams. The third one, they say that it would go based off of the norm or the average of the society as it pertains to the other individuals who reach puberty at that age. So for example, if there's a society where people are reaching puberty at the age of 15, let's say. For example, a girl who has not menstruated or anything or not shown any of these particular signs for whatever particular underlying biological cause, they will say that because that is the average of her society, and if she shows obviously signs of mental maturity or mental development to the point where she is responsible and well able to maintain a household, that she would be considered amongst those who is of a marriageable age. The fourth, menstruation, obviously for women. It's very simple. And if anything, when we go to the Christian side, we see they only have one of these criteria. It is in their book in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 36, their beloved Paul. He gives us the criteria according to who is of a marriageable age amongst the women. And the word that he uses, or the terminology he uses, is a girl who is reached the flower of her youth. And the way that they interpret this verse is quite simply, the flower of her youth is referring to a girl who has quote unquote bloomed or reached menstruation. So if they're
that was literally the standard throughout all of history. Oh my god, and she's bleeding out her freaking, thingy. Yeah, boom, she's ready. That was literally the standard throughout history, like in different cultures, all that. So
going to judge Islam based off of, this Western criteria of 18, well, 10, 20, 30 years from now, that age could change to 25. And then they're going to look back at this time and they're going to say, oh, well, what they were doing 20, 30 years ago is completely immoral. Right? In the same way that they will backtrack into 100 years ago and say the same thing. And quite frankly, this number is not even something which is non-arbitrary. It's simply just a number that is picked out. It's not the standard all across the board either. We know.
Okay, so this is actually a good thing to bring up. I unfortunately read a stupid comment earlier today. And, this guy this is like from the video from 2 days ago. And he was yapping about what atrocities the British Empire did. Now, this is such a stupid, moronic comment because if you watch that video from 2 days ago, you literally heard me talking about the unfortunate things that the British Empire did. So I'm like reading this comment, looking at this guy, like listening to all this. I'm like, really? Like you're literally just yapping. You know, like I see this a lot from not all people, but you know, there's this like unique targeting that people love to do for the British Empire, right? So I'm like, okay, buddy. I'm like, look, keep the same energy for your region. Go talk about your region. I talk about all the stuff the British Empire do as long as it's relevant all the time. All the time. It's like, bro, everybody knows. You people just want to just attack. Oh my God, the British Empire. We know. Why don't you go say that for your region? Then you want to say, we must keep things fair and objective and put everyone to the same standard. Okay, then why don't you talk about your region? I swear, all the people who yap about the British Empire, they never talk about their region. You look at their region of the world, it was no better, right? So anyways, I looked at this comment. I simply said, my guy, like, everyone was doing like a whole bunch of nonsense that they weren't even supposed to be doing back then. Like, unfortunately, like people were doing that. So the reason why I'm saying this is like because he was like, oh, that's not an argument. One, I wasn't even trying to argue. Two, I was just telling the guy, like, dude, the past happened. You can't change the past. Okay, you can only just learn from it. You know how many times the British government have literally admitted fault for what they've done? Dear God, man. I mean, like, people just want to target someone just to target someone, bro. Like, it's ridiculous. But it's like, okay. They're saying here, like, oh, but this is just how it was back then, which I do agree with. I agree with it. I mean, you even heard me say in the video, my guy. Yes, that's how it was, bro. That's just how things were. It's unfortunate, but that's just how it was. You can't change the past. That was the norm. So if all you Muslims are going to sit here and agree with what these three sisters have to say, that, oh, it was just the norm back then. What the other people had to say as well, oh, it was just the norm back then. Do not come in my comments, bro, yapping about colonialism this or colonialism that, or European did this and European did that. First of all, I've like called out Europe so many times on my videos, bro. But it's like, do not yap to me about something in the past. Do not yap about it in my comments. That's done. You can't change anything. Now, if you were to come in my comments and you were to say, hey, this country is still doing XYZ, which I literally even called this out before 2 days ago, which is why that comment was so much more funny, because that video 2 days ago, if you watch all of it, you literally hear me call out the fact that these so-called civilized countries in Western Europe are still doing a whole bunch of crap. Very much so. But they love to call themselves civilized when they aren't. But I'm not going to repeat myself. Now, if you were to come in my comments and you were to talk about that, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's currently happening. That is currently an ongoing thing. Especially, that is much more of a big deal because we are way more aware, much more aware, and we have plenty of lessons to know. Yo, this is bad, this is wrong, this is not okay.
Know that there are many states in the US just alone.
Golly, man, like, do not come in my, this is what I don't like replying to comments. I read comments and, you know, I just see comments where I'm like, I'm not gonna waste my time because this comment is already moronic enough. Why would I waste my time when I have so much better things to do? You say I'm gonna give my time to you? If I give my time to you, that's a privilege. That is a privilege because I have so many things that I could be better using my time on, quite literally.
which have a completely different number. I believe Minnesota is about 12 years old. There are other states which have 14, some have 15, 16, and what have you. And obviously, if we go around to other countries, they won't have this number either. So it's really just about, asking them, what specifically are you judging this by? Right? And why should I accept your standard over my own?
Sister Cora, do you want to add anything?
To be quite frank, I think that this type of critique coming from a Christian or a Jew or even an atheistic standpoint, to be quite frank, is just 100% hypocritical. As she highlighted, within Christianity in 1 Corinthians 7 verse 36, Paul talks about the criteria of bleeding. We also see in the book of, I believe, Ezekiel, where it talks about particular parts of your body growing for the women specifically. It's not necessarily specifically in regards to marriage, but it talks about the way that they deemed somebody to be pubescent. We link this to the passage in 1 Corinthians 7 verse 36, and we understand what pubescence means. So obviously, Islam takes it a step further and it establishes more criterias. Now, obviously, any Christian or Jew that wants to contend with the marriage of Aisha radiallahu anha to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is going to be throwing stones out of a glass house. But even furthermore, into the atheistic standpoint, we can ask an atheist, okay, how exactly are we establishing that 18 is going to be the minimum age of being able to be married? They're going to say, okay, well, we come to this conclusion based on X, Y, and Z means, which are all going to be merely subjective. Especially from an atheistic standpoint, they don't have an objective means of determining what is and is not moral. So how exactly can they establish
that's so true.
Sallallahu alaihi wasallam was doing something that was immoral? I think that it truly is just throwing stones out of a glass house. And furthermore, to highlight the wisdom behind what Islam does. If we grant this arbitrary number that is 18, how do we account for people that aren't physically and mentally mature enough for marriage at 18? Completely and utterly permissible according to the laws today.
Yeah.
Sure, they're not going to contend with it, but Islam, alhamdulillah, we don't have a set number. Rather, we have criteria that need to be established. Whether or not somebody meets these criteria at 18, 19, 20, 25, it is completely subject to their case, and it's a case-by-case basis. This protects
that's how it should be
from these types of situations where
that's how it should be
the numerical age, but they are incapable of safely participating in a marriage.
Yeah, facts.
And I think the further we go back through generations, it's clear that across cultures and faiths, people got married at less of a numerical age. According to Christianity, Mary was around 12 or 13 when she gave birth to Jesus, and Rebecca and Isaac's marriage happened when she was supposedly 3, according to Jewish sources. And I'm not going to repeat what the Talmud says about 3-year-olds, astaghfirullah. And even in Victorian times, in the UK in the 1800s, kids were working full time from 5 and up. So it was just a different time. And like you said, Sister Tachi, in this day and age, there are many countries in Western Europe that have the age of consent at 14. There are a lot of places in the States where it's 16. And there are still laws in place in America where marriages can take place from any age. In 2026, I don't agree with this because the parameters of maturity are very different.
Yo, you know what this reminds me of? Guys, there is this there's this one time, guys. I'll tell the quick story time. I'm not gonna go into detail. There's this one Israeli girl. Yeah, it's crazy, right? Israeli girl. Oh my god, that is such a very interesting story. But that bonkers. Trust me, that story. I'm not gonna say the full details, but she fancied me. At the time, I was 16 or 17. I think I was just turned 17. I'm trying to remember here, but she was I think 14 or 15. Was it 14? No, she had to have been 14 because of this story. So she fancied me. She was in my DMs. At the time, my standards, my mindset was different. So I didn't even know this girl was an Israeli. I just saw her. I messaged her. I was like, hey, can I slide in your DMs? And she was like, only if you look pretty enough. Now, of course, me being a pretty boy, I was like, shit, I look pretty enough. So I sent her my pictures. this girl could not believe that that was what I looked like. She genuinely thought that I was a catfish. She wasn't the only girl. There's a lot of girls where I show them my pictures and they're like, that's not you. They're like, you're catfishing me. You're like, I don't believe that. But anyways, so she was like, oh, well, if that's actually you, like, yeah, you could stay. Yeah, you're pretty enough, right? And I mean, so I asked her, like, how old are you? And she said she was 14. And I was like, oh my God. I'm like, dear God. I'm like, no. I'm like, I cannot. I can't stay in your DMs because you're 14. And I'm like, I think I was like just turned 17. Just like a couple of days ago, I had literally just turned 17. So I was freshly 17. Keep in mind, I'm 21 now, right? And but she was like, no, it's okay, it's okay. The age of consent in Israel is 14. So she's like, no, you could like come over here and have some fun time. Oh my God. But yeah, I'm just saying that because it's like people's mindset on that is so different everywhere, right? Like there really is no set universal like standard of, oh my God, this is okay for this and this is okay for that. There really is like none. But dear God, there is like so much more details with that conversation with that Israeli girl. And I just never really brought her up because it just wasn't really relevant. Like, I asked her, like, oh, what's your perspective on the whole situation going on over there? And you'll hear me eventually talk about that when I have a relevant situation to talk about that. But that's for another video.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you guys doing? And welcome to another video, another reaction video with the champ that you like to watch, the champ that you're addicted to watching, and the champ that you crave to watch. Yes, and if you haven't already subscribed, then shame on you, really, because this is where the discourse is had. This is where the conversations are had. This is where it's at. This is where we discuss matters relating to Islam and Muslims in the West and everything else. And today we're going to be speaking about an individual, a far-right individual called Liam Tufts. Yes, Liam Tufts, who, unlike his surname, has actually got weak arguments against Islam and Muslims.
That's funny.
Conversation with an individual called Brother.
Unlike his surname, he has weak arguments. That's funny.
The Prophet Muhammad at 56 had sex with a 9-year-old. Okay or not okay? Fully grown men do still have sex, rape children. Do you think there's a link between Islam and that behaviour? Well, let me go straight in with you then.
Yeah, no problem.
Straight in, balls deep. The Prophet Muhammad at 56 had sex with a 9-year-old. Okay or not okay?
Now, this is the number one interrogation that people have against Islam, I think, in recent times, especially people from the far right. And the response, the conventional traditionalist response, has always been to say the following: this is anachronistic reasoning, this is the fallacy of presentism, and that back in the days, almost every single state and nation had puberty as the defining factor, and that people were getting married at 9 and 10 and 11, and even your kings were getting married at that time, and even your queens were getting married at that time, and etc., etc., etc. And look at Delaware, and look at these states in America where the age of marriage was until 7 years old, until quite recent, and that this situation has changed in the early 1900s. And all of this is a valid historical criticism that almost any historical worth his academic salt will accept. However, because the lay people are not like academics and they don't understand what you call the thick description, what Clifford Geertz called the thick description of sociological and anthropological phenomena, these specious and spurious claims against Islam are continually iterated and reiterated. So let's give you another angle. Let me ask you a question to start us up. The question is this: if someone does not believe that Aisha was 9 at the consummation, if someone believes in the revisionist account, for example, that she was 19, are they excommunicated beyond the pale of Islam? Is your understanding that believing that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ married Aisha at that particular age is an undercutter to the whole religion of Islam? Do you believe that this is an article of our faith? Do you believe that this is a pillar of our faith? Do you believe that this is one of the arkan, one of the pillars of Iman? No, it's none of the above. And that's why you actually find some traditionalist scholars of recent times talking about the plausibility of the revisionist account that she could have been 18 or 19. In fact, you had this individual called Abdurrahman Kandahlawi who wrote an entire book on the matter saying that she could have been 19 years old and explaining why. And you know the Asma argument, basically stating that Asma died at this particular time and chronologically she couldn't have been this age and she was 10 years older than Aisha, and therefore Aisha had to have been 19 at the time, and going into details that we can't actually go into right now because you can read the book, it's actually translated into English. Another person is Sheikh Ad-Dado, one of the most prominent scholars in the world today. In fact, some could argue the most knowledgeable one. And this is what he had to say about the matter.
يواجهه بالصغيرة. وأيضا هو حتى إن بعض المؤرخين لا يوافق على السن فيرى أنها إنما تزوجها رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وهي 18 من عمرها.
أسأل عن هذا لأن دونت عندي ما مدى صحة هذا التوجيه؟
هو محتمل لأن الحديث غير قاطع في ذلك. فعائشة رضي الله عنها
تزوجني وأنا
وهي لا إنما تسمع ذلك خبرا من الناس.
لكن 18 يعني مسافة كبيرة بين 9 و18 يمكن.
هذا في الدخول.
إيه؟
قد يكون الزواج النكاح عقد النكاح قبل ذلك ما أدري بكم سنة.
بلا أقصد أنه لو نكحها وهي بنت 17 ما التبس عليها، لكن 6 سنين 7 8 9 لا فرق فيه.
والمهم أنها وهي صغيرة تعلم أنها زوجته لأن الوحي قد نزل بذلك. فلذلك قد يكون في مخيلتها منذ 6 سنين عندما أدركت وعقلت أنها تعلم أنها زوج النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم
ولم يكن عقد عليها بعد.
نعم.
Now, as you can see here, all I'm showing you is the plausibility of the revisionist account. All I'm showing you is that this does not take someone beyond the pale of Islam. All I'm showing you is that if you are using this as an argument to undercut the entire religion of Islam, it's a failed argument because it's not actually something we consider to be a pillar of Islam. It's a historical thing. It's a historical matter. Amrun tarikhiyun. It is a historical matter, and the scholars of the past like An-Nawawi, Ibn Hajar, and Ibn Ashur, and all of these individuals say when it comes to historical things, there's much more lenience anyway. And this is a mawquf hadith in Bukhari. Yes, it is in Bukhari, but it's mawquf. It goes back to Aisha radiallahu anha, and so there's more flexibility with the situation. That's number one. So even if we went to, for the sake of argument, hypothetically, no problem, for the sake of argument, say absolutely, whatever, then you could say still that she was 19, and you can believe that, and not be, you can disbelieve the fact that she was 9 years old and still be a Muslim. This is number one. So it doesn't undercut the entire religion of Islam. You can still be a Muslim and believe that she was older than that. That's number one. Number two, which is going to become very detrimental for the likes of Liam Tufts, who I saw recently was getting baptized. And of course, if he had a conversation with me, he'd be intellectually baptized. And that's a different thing, because I'm going to physically baptize, yes, his friend Paul Golding in the ring. Okay, I'm going to physically baptize him. But if you were to have a conversation with me, Mr. Tufts, you would be intellectually baptized. And I'm sure that's why you rejected such conversation with Ali Dawah in the past, because, maybe you knew that there'd be some questions that you wouldn't be able to answer. And you're not in the position to be able to answer these questions because, quite frankly, Mr. Tufts, you're not educated. Quite frankly, you're not qualified. Quite frankly, you are not academic. You have no background at all. Zero. In Islam, in sociology, in anything. You are just a far-right pundit that's repeating talking points that you find on social media. You have no knowledge of your own. That's number one. Number two, since you have...
Yo, that's like so real though. Like a lot of these people from both sides, I even witnessed this in my comments. They just repeat talking points that they see on social media. Like, bro, zero knowledge of their own, just simply repeat talking points from social media, bro. Like,
been baptized. I have a question. My question to you is as follows. If you believe that the marriage of a 9-year-old is wrong in all times and all places, what do you do of the Bible? Since the Bible in the book of Numbers, in the chapter 31, verse number 18, says that you can have the young girls for yourself. The taf in Hebrew, lachem for them. They can take it for themselves, like lahum in Arabic. Actually, lachem and lahum are the same. You can take the taf for yourselves. You can take the young girls as mentioned there in the Bible. And the Babylonian Talmud and other biblical exegetes, they all understood that as essentially you can take young girls and have intercourse with them, prepubescents who have not known a man. That's what's mentioned in your Bible. So my question is this: since you believe that Jesus is part of a triune God, okay, and that he therefore must have been the author of the Old Testament, do you condemn Jesus? No, let's no running away here now, because the majority.
No, how could Jesus be the author of the Old Testament? Who says that Jesus is the author of the Old Testament? What? Who says that? That is just... What? That's just... I'm not even gonna like explain that. That's just like, no, bro. Like, no. No.
The people that are speaking about the situation,
not even,
yeah, are either Jews or Christians. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, far-right Christians. Since you're a Christian and you believe in the Bible, yeah, my question is this: since Jesus is meant to be part of the triune God who authored the Old Testament, my question is simple: do you condemn your biblical Jesus who commanded in the book of Numbers, chapter number 31, verse number 18, yeah, to take the young ones for yourself? Do you condemn? No, do you condemn it? Or you say, oh, that was for now, that was for then, this is the old covenant, the new covenant. But he, at one point in time, in historical timeline, he commanded to that. So do you condemn that aspect? Oh, if you're going to make a historical argument, it was okay then, it's not okay now, then you can make the same argument for the Prophet Muhammad's marriage or any other marriage. Then you lost, you failed. It's a dilemma. It's the Christian dilemma. You're finished. You're done. If you go...
Yeah, because most Christians are idiots and they don't really know much about their own scripture. Like most Christians, I don't even like to call them Christians, to be honest. I mean, you like see this where I watched Sister Itachi and her so-called debate where the Christians don't really know like anything like what they're talking about. That's literally most Christians. Like,
okay, well, actually, no, I do condemn him. Then you're out of the religion of Christianity. You're no longer a Christian. So which one do you go for? And how comes we don't find people speaking about this verse the way they speak about the hadith of in Bukhari about the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and his marriage to Aisha? Number one. Number two, if you look at the book of the 1 Samuel chapter 15 verse number 3, where it says, where it goes to go to the Amalek and kill the men, women, the children, okay, the donkeys and the oxen, all of this, the children. Let's just focus on the children for now. So killing a child is okay, is it? Do you condemn Jesus Christ, who you believe is an author of the Old Testament because he's part of the triune God? Do you condemn your biblical Jesus, your Christian Jesus conception? Do you condemn your Jesus Christ? Of course, we wouldn't condemn Jesus. We believe he's a prophet. He is one of the greatest men who's ever lived. But I'm saying your conception, your Christian conception of Jesus, do you condemn that conception? Who told us, apparently, to go and kill the children? Kill them. You condemn it. Oh, it's okay historically for at one point in time for that to happen. There could be a command to go into a village and them to ravage everybody and to kill the children. So you see, it's going to get very bad for you the more we speak, because in the book of Deuteronomy chapter number 22, and you look verses like 28, for example, you'll find that it's even saying that someone who rapes a person, he has to then marry them. Do you condemn Jesus Christ? You condemn the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, all three of them, for commanding that somebody must be forced into marriage with their own rapist, or the person raped them. Do you condemn that? You see, if you're going to go into a discussion about the age of Aisha, and you're going to go into a discussion about prepubescence, and you're going to go into a discussion about children and stuff like that, trying to link Islam with some spurious and specious claims, as we've said, which can easily be repudiated, then let's start with your Bible. Let's start with the Old Testament. Let's start with the Old Testament, who Jesus Christ, according to a Christian conception, co-authored, okay, at least he co-authored this book with the Father and the Holy Spirit. So what do you do? What are you going to say now?
The only thing that I really have to say is, one, I'm not even with these Christians that he's talking about. I think my statements early in the video shows that, number one. Number two, this is low-key unrelated, but a while ago, I was talking about how, like, God was rolling different. Like, God was so, like, the things that he was doing in the Old Testament was, like, so just yikes, right? Or commanding people to do. It was yikes. Which is one of the reasons why Jesus makes sense, because after Jesus came and went, God chilled out, because it was like, okay, well, I don't really need to do this anymore. After that major display of my power, at this point, if y'all just still don't want to do anything that you're supposed to do, really and truly, eventually Jesus is just gonna come back in the second coming. Judgment day is gonna happen, and you're all just I'm just gonna get rid of the people I need to get rid of, and that's that, right? Like, but that's we're not talking about Jesus here, though.
And this is how we should respond to these people. If they come from a Christian or Jewish background, and if they attack you with this interrogation, don't go on the back foot. You can answer quickly by saying, frankly, this is not an undercut for Islam, it's not a pillar of Islam. If we don't believe as Muslims, and this is where it becomes quite shocking, if we don't believe as Muslims that the Prophet married Aisha at that particular age, it doesn't take us out of the fold of Islam. But if you don't believe...
Oh yeah, I used to believe that stupid like Christian, like anti-Islam propaganda of, oh, Muhammad created Islam just so that he had an excuse to get with a freaking underage person. But of course, using basic common sense anyways, I'm realizing, hold on a second, this is such a common thing in this historical period of time. I just came to the realization that, okay, no, this is stupid. Plus my own ideas of like this whole concept of age of consent and blah, 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 blah. It's so funny, right? It reminds me of a conversation I'm having with a guy that I don't talk to anymore, because I realized that this guy is, I discerned this guy and I just realized that he was not it anyways. So, I talked to this guy, and then, I told him, I was talking to him about like this whole stupid idea of, oh, if you're under 18, you're a kid, you're an innocent person, you don't know what you're doing. But then as soon as you're 18, it's just a flip of a switch. Oh, you're a grown-ass adult, blah, 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 blah. You know everything all of a suddenly. I'm like, what type of logic is that? And I was like telling him, I'm like, dude, there's so many examples of kids who know what the hell they're doing. I mean, guys, look at the amount of kids, according to statistics, that are watching porn, right? That are playing with themselves. Well, I'm talking preteens, bro. Preteens, bro. These kids are literally women. For women, especially, a lot of men can't fathom the idea of this, but for women, they don't really like to watch porn. No, they like to read things like Wattpad, Wattpad, right? Oh, Wattpad. If you're a guy, you probably don't know what Wattpad is. But I know what Wattpad is because I've talked to enough women and they told me about it. It's basically corn, but for women. Quite literally. It's basically just a whole bunch of, long story short, stories that of like their, you know how women have like celebrity crushes and all that, or they'll crush over like certain like anime characters or whatever the heck series or watch. Hell, even content creators, oh god, they even write this stuff about content creators, man. They'll make up these sexual stories, fanfic. They call it fan fiction, but it's basically like just corn, but for women. Not even women, girls, because there's girls that be reading that. Vast majority of the people who read that is girls, and they do it to get off, just like how most men are used to the idea of going on corn, getting off. For women, it's Wattpad. Well, in the context of like preteens and early teenagers, it's Wattpad. Most men don't even know about it. I swear, whenever I like bring up Wattpad to a girl, they're like, "Whoa, how the hell do you know that?" They're like, "Whoa, elite ball knowledge." Yeah, trust me, I know. Bro, guys, remember what I said before? Like, women want sex more than men, bro. Like, trust me. You're around women enough, you will realize it's super duper quick. Like, bro, women want sex more than men, bro. Like, but that's not really what we're talking about. I'm talking about like how people are aware of what the hell they're doing when they're like specific ages, and it's like, oh, what my innocent baby, my innocent baby, man, get out of here, man.
That Jesus commanded in the book of Numbers 31:18.
You know what it is? It's not even like you don't know what you're doing. You just don't have enough experience. You just don't have enough experience. That's all that it is. Compare a person with who's like 35 to a 15-year-old. Obviously, the 35-year-old is going to have more experiences naturally because he lived longer. So thus, his mentality should be different. However, we live in an age where you can just sit your butt at home, rot away. And because of that, you're not experiencing anything. This is why we get people who are like 50 years old, but they act like a freaking kid. This is where you get people who are 70 years old, 74 years old, acting like a 16-year-old. That's a true story for me personally. Trust me, that story is bizarre.
He commanded. Or the book of 1 Samuel 15, chapter 15, verse number 3, what he commanded there. Or the book of Deuteronomy.
Bro, what am I supposed to even title this video?
You don't believe in that.
I don't even know what I'm supposed to title this video, to be honest.
So in other words, you're digging a grave for yourself, and you're creating a self-annihilatory argument for yourself, a self-defeating argument. And that's all I have to say. And that is a KO blow, a finish blow to anybody from that particular background who wishes to ask us questions about this. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Yeah.
Explain to me, like, this is a genuine question. Like, I want to know the whole thing about Aisha. Was she actually 6 and when she got married in 9?
Yep.
So, how do you defend that? Genuinely.
What is there to defend?
It's a 50-year-old man with a 6-year-old.
Yeah, why should I defend that? What's the problem?
Do you think that's right?
What's
Or
right?
was it
Marrying a woman? Yeah, I think that's right.
Was it just in that time? Is that what you're trying to say, and not just now?
No, it's always just to marry a woman.
Even when they're 6 years old?
We can marry women. As
Right.
long as somebody... Do you agree that as long as somebody is a woman, then they're marriageable?
Oh, yeah, but I would, like, draw a line of their age, you know?
Huh?
I would draw a line of their age. I mean, I wouldn't, like, if I was 40 years
But
old, I
you-
wouldn't make a 50-year-old.
You wouldn't?
I definitely wouldn't.
Show me in the Bible where it says that.
Show you in the Bible?
Yeah.
I don't think it says anything about... I mean, I haven't read any verses where it talks about marriage, but I'm talking about your Quran. So defend it like from your point of view.
I'm saying there's nothing to defend.
Right. So you think it's just.
Yeah, I think marrying a mature woman is just.
So was Aisha just when she was playing with dolls at 6?
Yeah, she hadn't hit puberty at 6 yet. That's why the Prophet waited until the age of 9 to consummate.
So he had sex with her when she was 9.
Yep.
How old was he?
You know how old he was. Why are you asking?
No, like I know he was in his 50s, but I don't know like specifically.
Yeah, you got it. So yeah, no. What's the argument now?
So you genuinely think that it's right to do that just because she reached puberty?
I think it's right to marry a woman. Yeah.
Do you think it's right to have sex with a 9-year-old even though just because they reach puberty, do you think that they're mentally fit to have sex?
No, I think it's right to marry a woman.
Right. Well, I mean, he had sex with her. So do you think that that's just because she reached puberty?
Yeah, that's what the Bible says. Yeah.
Where?
In Ezekiel, it says, "When your body formed and your breasts formed, I saw that you were ready for love."
Ezekiel what?
Let me pull it up.
Well, I mean, I don't know much about the context of that verse, but I'm talking about just from you.
Yeah, I just told you I agree with the Bible.
No, you agree with the Quran.
No, I agree with the Bible.
I mean, you can agree with some parts of the Bible, some parts not. But I'm talking about just from your
from my perspective, I agree with the Bible here.
Mashallah.
Do you agree with the Bible?
I agree with the Bible, but I don't agree with a 50-year-old marrying a 6-year-old and having sex with her when she was 9.
All right. Would you keep the same standard if your Lord Jesus Christ command you to do that?
Yeah, but what verse?
Go to Numbers 31, verse 17, 18.
Numbers what?
31, verse 17.
Bro, this guy cooked himself.
What about it?
Read it.
Kill all the Mandiant.
No, unalive, dude. Unalive, please.
Unalive all the Mandiant
Wait.
women. Unalive all the Mandiant women.
Why is my YouTube?
Have sexual relations. But save for yourself the girls who have not had sexual relations with a man.
Okay.
You know what the Hebrew says here for girls?
Hold on.
It says the female infants, or the.
Okay, he just froze. We're fine, guys.
The KJV has it. The woman children. Keep them for yourselves.
Hold on, KJV. Let me pull it up. KJV. So it says, "Unalive every male among the little ones, and every woman that hath known man lying with him." Doesn't say child.
Keep going.
But all the women and children that are not known a man by.
Keep alive for yourselves.
Oh yeah.
So God
Right,
commands the army of Moses.
Yeah.
Well, here's the story. They were supposed to unalive all of them.
Right.
But they didn't. They kept the little girls and the little boys alive and the women. So Moses gets upset and he says, "Unalive the women who have slept with a man, the boys, but the little girls keep them as concubines for yourselves."
Where does that say you're gonna have sex with a child?
What did they do with them? Go play chess?
What? Bro. Oh my god, that's funny.
For yourselves.
Go play chess is crazy.
What could a grown man possibly do with a little girl for himself?
I don't know, man.
A virgin little girl for himself.
Marriage, family. I don't
Marriage?
know.
Okay, so you could marry the little girl, right?
Where does it say that
Bro.
right away when they're little? Doesn't it?
It says it in Deuteronomy chapter, what was it? In Deuteronomy chapter 21, verse 10 to 14. When the Lord your God gives you victory in battle over your enemies, and you see amongst the females a beautiful female that you like and want to marry, take her to your home, she will shave her head, cut her fingernails, and change her clothes. After that, after she mourns her parents for a month, you may go into her. If you no longer want her, you may let her go free without selling her, since you humiliated her by forcing her to have intercourse with you.
What was this chapter again?
Deuteronomy 21, verse 10 to 14.
10 to 14. I don't think it's working right now. Just read it one more time, please.
When the Lord your God, I'm reading from memory, by the way. When the Lord your God gives you victory in battle over your enemies, and you see a beautiful female that you like and want to marry, take her to your home, where she will shave her head, cut her fingernails, change her clothes. She will mourn her parents that you just unalived in battle for a month. After that, you may go into her. If after that you no longer desire her, you may let her go free without selling her, since you forced her to have intercourse with you. That's what it says.
So where is that about marriage and like age?
So in Numbers, they went to war and they took captives, little girls, right?
Where does it say little girls?
Keep the little girls for yourself, what we just read.
I know I'm looking down, guys. I'm just looking down because I'm just like, that's just like, like I knew the Bible, like God literally allowed people to like unalive people. Like I knew that was a thing. Like yes, they had battles and stuff. Like I was aware of that. Even as a kid, like I was aware of that part where I'm like, oh yeah, like even then, like you know, these people like were still going around unaliving, looting, and you know, God allowed that really and truly in the Old Testament, right? But I never heard anything. And I guess it's because I was a kid that no one really brought that part up because that would be really awkward to bring up. But this part here is just like, that's why my head is just down because I am just like, wow. That is I'm not gonna lie, that's appalling to be honest. I mean, I don't really know what else to say. That's just appalling. I mean, that's just like, this is the Old Testament, right? Still though, even though like with the New Testament, it's a new covenant, true. But that's still like, ooh, that's really icky. That's still very much icky. Dear God, ugh. But wasn't the Old Testament more centered around the Israelites, though? There was no Christianity in the Old Testament. There wasn't even a term Christian until the New Covenant and the New Testament came around. There is that caveat. These people at this time were Jews. This is all Jewish stuff here. This wasn't like, remember how Christianity formed. Christianity started as a sect of Judaism because these specific Jews thought that Jesus fulfilled the prophecy. Remember, Paul was a Jew as well, guys. He followed the standard Jewish protocol. That's why he was hunting down Christians in the first place, because he, you know, before he got his revelation from Jesus, he thought, yeah, these people, you know, like what all the other Jews who weren't Trinitarians thought. They were like, yeah, no, these guys are insane, they're crazy, and they're not following what we believe to be correct, so they got to go. They're teaching the wrong message. Paul was all a part of that. But I remember, like, Christianity started as a sect of Judaism, never called itself Christian, not really up until like 46 years to 100 years after Jesus died on the cross, right? Paul, the new covenant, all that, right? It wasn't really solidified for a good long time. I mean, even the term Christian was used as a derogatory term. It wasn't even used as the way it's being used. It was used as a derogatory term to make fun of Jews who believed that Jesus fulfilled their prophecy. But over time, due to the fact that these specific Jews were just diverging too much, especially with like the new covenant that they believed in, from Paul and Jesus and the other testimonies in the New Testament, that was basically like the nail in the coffin. Like the Old Testament is still there to give people like, okay, this is the historical context prior to the New Testament, so people understand like, okay, this is where this came from. But the New Testament, really and truly, though, it's still the focus is still like there. That's why you have Paul, a good example, in the Old Testament, right? Follow the Mosaic law. Paul in the New Testament says absolutely not, because Paul's perspective was, okay, well, no need for that anymore, but we'll keep the Old Testament around so that these people understand the historical context of why such ended up becoming such anyways, right? There is that caveat. So the Old Testament, because you really got to remember that the Old Testament was like way different. Like time was really different. People were identifying much more differently. So whenever I hear people using like the Old Testament, right, and saying like, oh, but this is your Christian God here in the Old Testament. Look what your Christian God is saying in the Old Testament. I'm like, huh? Because I'm like, wait a minute. The Jews also believe in the Old Testament as well? And I even ask this to Muslims. I see some Muslims say like, oh no, they don't believe the Old Testament there's nothing wrong with the Old Testament. But I'll see some Muslims say, no. There is things wrong in the Old Testament. Like I always see like this mixed opinion. So I'm like, okay, so some of you Muslims believe in the Old Testament still, but you believe that the New Testament was what ruined everything. Okay, so it's like the Old Testament to me is just pure Judaism. Just pure Judaism. Because in the Old Testament, there really isn't. I mean, Christians will say like, yes, there was some reference to Jesus in the Old Testament, but not really, to be honest. I mean, every time I heard about the Old Testament, it was just God, like God. You don't really hear anything about Jesus like until the New Testament. Like the way how I know the Old Testament is like God and the ancient Israelites / Jews, like that was their thing. So how I know it is like the Old Testament was, yeah, it was purely Judaism and the ancient Israelites, but the New Testament was this. That's like when things changed, the split happened, the Christianity actually like began and started following, the New Testament, right? And they kept the Old Testament, of course, like what I explained, but they were basically just following the New Testament, more or less, at that point. Which is why I said, like, it's so important for people to understand. That's why they're split. You hear me saying this all the time. Like, that's why they have it as this is the Old Testament, guys, and this is the New Testament, guys. It's literally there to not confuse people, to make people understand, like, yes, this was the old way, but this is the new way. This is why Christianity is different from Judaism, to make people understand, like, the split that happened and the context leading up to the split. Because if you just like treat the Old Testament as not a separate category from the New Testament, then you're basically saying that Christianity isn't Christianity, it's just Judaism. But of course, we know that's not the case. Christianity just is too different. The New Testament changed a lot of things that is just like, it just has to be its own thing now. The most popular one, of course, being Paul telling people don't follow the Mosaic law. And the other popular one being like Jesus is the Son of God and the Trinity, of course. Like, that's so different compared to what the Old Testament was doing. So, you know, but still though, I don't know, that's just kind of like I know God was like, I always knew God was like, he was more brutal in the Old Testament. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I always knew that, but it's like, wow, to this extent, it's like, whoa. But still, like, wouldn't you Muslims also believe, I mean, at the end of the day, like, we all believe in the same God, so I mean, you Muslims also like also believe in this as well.
What are you using NKJV?
The Hebrew says little girls, so it doesn't matter what KJV, but KJV also says it. Yeah,
little girls. I mean, what age is that saying? I don't know. When it says little girls,
all right, the age is not specified, but is it? Can you marry a little girl?
You can marry. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Come on, man. Come on.
It doesn't specify the age. I just go by your Quran.
Now you're being a bot, dude. Come on. You see, you're being a bot, man. Come on. You said you were gonna be genuine. Now you're not being genuine. All right.
Just go by your Quran, not by the Bible.
What about my Quran? I just told you.
So you think it's just?
I think it's just to marry a woman. Yeah.
No, I'm talking about sex at 9.
I think it's just to have intercourse with a woman as long as it's consensual and within marriage. Yep.
At 9. Just say at 9.
When she's a woman.
So if she's reached puberty at 9, then yes.
If she's a woman.
Why do you like not want to say it?
Because that's our criteria. You're telling me to answer from my Quran. I'm answering you from my Quran.
Let me give you a scenario, right? There's a 9-year-old woman, and she's reached puberty, and you married her. That's just.
According to Ezekiel, yep.
No, according to the Quran.
According to Ezekiel, yes.
Oh, brother.
Do you disagree? Do you disagree with Ezekiel or something?
I would disagree with this verse, yeah.
You would disagree with Ezekiel?
I would, yes.
Are you serious?
With this verse, yeah. I mean, I can find verses that I don't find favor in, but I mean, I would assume that.
So you pick and choose God's revelation?
Just because I disagree with it doesn't mean that it's right, or it doesn't mean that it's wrong.
So you could disagree with God?
I mean, I could find like disfavorment. I wouldn't like.
You could disagree with God.
I guess so. I mean, yeah, you can like not like certain things that he says.
Oh my God. So I just want to understand this. What, you could disagree with God, meaning you think he's wrong, or meaning like what does that mean?
No, not like in the sense of like wrong. I'm saying that like you can find disfavorment with what he says.
Like disfavor in what way? Like he's wrong, it's evil, you don't think it's good, you don't think it's evil, you don't think it's just? What do you mean?
I mean, I just don't like it.
Why?
I don't know. I don't think it's. I don't know. I don't like it.
Why?
Exactly. That's why I have my head down. That's why I have my head down. That's why I have my head down, because I'm like, shit. You can't disagree with God. I'm like, bro, this is like God, bro. Like, that's why my head was down, because that was literally what was just going through my thoughts. Like, oh my God. I can't pause and say like I disagree with this. This is wrong because I'm like, bro, God literally gave the green light here. Like, you know, like I said before, like as a kid, I always knew God gave the green light for people to like unalive people and all that stuff in battle, sieges, and warfare. But I was never like, this was never like taught. Like, oh my God. Oh my God, this is an awkward position. I don't feel like awkward. Like this is just a. I ain't gonna lie. This is just. It just. I don't know what to say, guys. I don't.
Because it just doesn't seem right to me. Doesn't mean that it's not right.
It doesn't seem right to you.
Mm-hmm.
So God can command something that's not right.
From my point of view, I mean, from him it's all right, but from my point of view, it could like not be right. Just because
is his point of view objectively true?
Yeah.
All right, so it doesn't matter what you think; it's true.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah, for sure.
And it's right, and it's good and just.
Yeah.
So the Quran is right, good, and just.
No, because there's things that the Bible says that is completely like different from the Quran.
Like,
but I'm talking like just from your Quran. I don't even want to mention the Bible.
I already told you, man. I agree with Ezekiel when it comes to marriage. I think women should be allowed to marry. And when Ezekiel says that when somebody hits puberty, their breasts form, their body forms, they are ready for love. That's what Ezekiel says.
All right.
So
I don't.
What? So now we have established that the Quran is correct, just, and morally correct.
No, we have not.
We have. You just said it.
I don't think we have.
You said it, man. You can't take it back now. So what do you disagree with in the Quran?
Everything that it says.
Like,
I mean, one of like the biggest problems that I have is the amount of like conflicts and wars that Muhammad went through, pillaged like villages and
a lot. Yep, he sounds like Moses and Joshua and David and Solomon.
Mm-hmm.
All those prophets of God who God says they found favor with God, and they obeyed all of God's commandments.
Yeah.
You know, actually, let's do it.
Like, yeah, that's how I heard of all those stories of the wars, the people being alive is literally like, you know, through them. Like, but the other part, I
Can you go to Deuteronomy chapter 20 for me?
I don't know, man.
Chapter 20, yeah.
Read verse 10.
That part is just. I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say.
When thou comest nigh unto the city to fight against it, then proclaim peace
that's just it. Wow.
And it shall be if it make thee answer peace and open unto thee, then it
No,
shall
what
be.
translation you reading, bro? Are we Shakespeare's time? Read a better translation, bro.
All right. Hold on. I'll do NKG. All right. 10, right?
Yeah.
Or verse 21? Or Deuteronomy 21?
Verse Deuteronomy 20.
Shit.
Verse 10.
Bro, what do you say to this? What do you... Oh my God, bro. The amount of Christians that... I mean, I didn't even know that. I mean, like I said, it's the Old Testament, but even... Okay. Paul says, like, when a chick is... when she is, like, you know, blooming, right? Metaphorically. But that's different. That's different. But this is just like... yeah, you could take all the females and have your way with them. the thing is like God permitting that. Well, according to the Old Testament. Because really and truly, at one point, even though, it's a New Testament, New Covenant, even though Christianity wasn't around, at one point, everyone like agreed. That's the thing. It's like, at one point, it's like, even though Christians weren't around, the people who would become Christians anyways, at one point agreed, like, yo, this is like, God told us, like, okay, do such and such. And, well, yeah, bro, shit. Oh my God. I'm not gonna lie, that is insane. I mean, but what like, oh my God. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm sorry. This is such a bombshell.
When you go near a city to fight against it, then
That is just crazy, bro.
All right, wait. When you go to a city to fight against it, first proclaim an offer of peace. All right, then.
Oh my God.
And it shall be that if they accept your offer of peace,
God would truly do that.
all the people who are found in it shall be placed.
Hold on a second. I've heard some Muslims say that the Old Testament is corrupted. My question is this, right? Could this be a corrupted part of the Old Testament? Because God allowing this just to force yourself onto another human being, it just sounds so uncharacteristic of God. Am I missing something here? I don't know. This is why this is just like, because the way how I know God is like, God was really, I mean, he did let people just go on and life other people. I'm not gonna lie. In the wars and the sieges. Oh my God. Oh my guys, I can't wrap my head around this. I can't wrap my head around this.
They have to pay you tax, tribute, and live under your control. All right, keep going.
I can't,
the city will not make peace with you, but war against you, then you shall besiege it.
But if they don't accept that you live under your control and pay you tax, then you should besiege it and attack it. Keep going.
And when the Lord your God delivers it into your hands, you shall strike every male in it with the edge of the sword. But the women,
and when God allows you to win in battle, you are to unalive all the combatants and leave the women and children alive as your slaves and your workers. Correct?
That's what it says, yeah.
Are we reading the Quran or the Bible?
Hold on, let me keep reading. She shall put off the clothes of her captivity, remain in your house, and mourn her father and her mother.
That's the wrong verse, dude.
Oh wait, yeah, you're right. And when the Lord your God delivers it into your hands, you and all that in that city, all its spoils, you shall plunder for yourself, and you shall eat the enemies. Plunder which the Lord your God gives you.
So take their plunder, take the woman, take the children, chop up all the combatants.
Oh,
right.
Oh my God, that's nice. I'm not gonna lie, that's uncomfortable to me, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro.
Wasn't this like a time where there was a lot of war against Israel?
Yep, kind of like when there was a lot of war against the Prophet.
Right.
But this isn't talking about defensive warfare. This is talking about offensive warfare.
My God.
The Israelites here are not defending land; they are taking land.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what happened when the Israelites reached the promised land after Moses passed away?
I do.
What did God tell Joshua to do?
I actually do know.
I don't know.
To go into Canaan and destroy every living thing.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I knew that.
Do you reject the God of Moses and Joshua?
I mean, they were told.
I was thinking like if I should like bring that up, like the fact that when they went to the promised land, they literally had to unalive everyone there. Like I was aware of that. Very much like a lot of people don't. A lot of Christians don't know that. But
To repent. God is the one. God is the one commanding this, dude. What repent?
No,
bro, this is just uncomfortable, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like this is.
Oh, okay. So there's cases where if somebody's an idol worshiper, you are to go spread the religion of the true God, offer them a peace treaty. Well, they will be under the true God. They will pay you tax, tribute. If they reject, you go into them and you conquer them, and you keep the women and children as slaves, right?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess so.
All right. Do you believe in that God?
Yeah.
So what do you have a problem with the Quran for?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not that educated in this, so I'd have to do more research. But I guess
Brother,
you're right.
You just said you don't believe in the
It's the same
Quran
case,
because
it's
of
the same
warfare. I'm telling you, there's nothing inherently wrong with war.
Okay, this is a stupid take because, like I said, I always knew about warfare in the Bible. That's dumb. Like warfare was just simply a part of time back then. It was so common back then. It was just a way of life back then. This guy, again, just another Christian who's stupid and ignorant. Yeah, but still, the part that really got me is like the Old Testament literally saying like God permitting people to being able to force themselves on kids. Oh my god, I don't know what I'm gonna put on the title of this video. YouTube, this is an educational video. YouTube, dear God, I don't think I'm gonna make any money from this video, to be honest. The amount of words that's definitely gonna trigger the algorithm. And that's another thing too, guys, is more bad words, the algorithm is gonna read that and it's gonna be like, oh, your video isn't ad friendly, so you're not gonna make much money from it. This video is beyond cooked. It is what it is.
You know that, right?
I'm not making any money from this.
Is the Aisha thing, but
Brother, the book of Numbers has 32,000 little girls being married.
married, not.
I'm like way too sleepy already for this. I mean, you probably see in my eyes, bro. You wanna know if I'm tired?
I mean, married.
You see my you see my eyelids.
What does that mean?
If you see my eyelids, bro, that's how you know I'm tired. Cause my eyelids never show unless I'm tired. Never ever.
Maybe marriage.
There's a science behind it, actually.
You may go into her. Where are you going? Inside what?
When you have a weak muscle, it's just gonna loosen itself.
Inside of, man.
Simple as that.
Like, what do you? You can't escape.
Yeah. I don't know.
You don't know what? It's
You're
right.
right in that case,
It's
yeah.
right in the text. It's right in front of you.
Yeah, it's.
Brother, you have no reason to reject Islam. When you become Muslim, you follow Jesus, his true teachings, his true religion. You worship one God alone. You have a strong moral, ethical code that makes you a man, that makes you disciplined, and you have eternal life, and you don't worship a man God and a Trinity.
I still don't think that it's not a trinity, but I mean I've watched lots of videos and stuff. I just can't like think of the exact points, but I mean I honestly like I take credibility. I do have to do more research and all this to be more informed, but from what I've seen so far, I just wouldn't be Muslim in any way. I mean, even
every reason you reject Islam for is in your Bible. Isn't that odd?
I don't know. I mean, there could be context for this stuff. I just don't know.
Wow, there could be context. Come on, man.
I don't know, brother. I'm new to this.
All right. So if you go and you research and it's really what you just read, and there's no other context that explains it any other way, are you gonna leave Christianity for the same reasons that you're rejecting Islam?
I mean, yeah, if I find like complete contradictions, then yeah, I would.
So if you go research and you find out that Moses went to war and Joshua did a complete shmenocide of Canaanites and so on and so forth, and that there was really little girls being taken in battle, you're gonna leave Christianity?
If it's not a just punishment from God, then yeah.
If it's not a just punishment for God.
Yeah.
Wow, man. So when the Prophet Muhammad does it, it's not a just punishment.
I mean, from what I read, he just like tried to take over the whole world with Islam, and that was the whole point. Not like there was some cases where
isn't that like, but that's so much aura, is it not? We were the kings of the world.
Through violence, I mean.
Through violence? What do you mean? How do you conquer the world without violence? Come on, brother. Don't be a soft cupcake. How do you conquer the world without violence? Hello.
I mean, there is violence.
Knock, knock. Hello, Hercules of the Byzantine Empire. Can I please come into your land and spread my religion? Please?
No,
I can't. No, I can't. No, I can't. Oh, okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. I'll go try the next empire over. Dude, what are you talking about?
I'm saying Muhammad, he pillaged and did all this just because he wanted to spread it.
He didn't pillage what? We did exactly what Deuteronomy chapter 20 tells you. When you want to go conquer, you send them a peace treaty. You send a peace treaty first. If they don't accept it... I'm pretty sure
that Israel was under attack and that's why they did it.
No, bro, this is offensive. This is not defensive. Brother, Israel came out of Egypt as slaves. Moses was leading them to the promised land. Who lived in the promised land? The Canaanites. Moses didn't make it with them to the promised land, so Joshua carried. He took leadership. They made it to the promised land. Joshua took the Israelites, and they went inside of the Canaanites, and they butchered them all. Did he pillage the Canaanites?
I don't know, mate. I think so, yeah.
All right. Do you believe in the God of Joshua who pillaged the Canaanites?
Absolutely.
Wow, man. There you go. So the God of Muhammad is the God of Joshua because they're brothers in faith. And conquest is not wrong.
All right. Well, I gotta do more research, but I gotta go now. It's time. I got school tomorrow. I'll do more research. Hey, I'll join your live sometime when I do more research on this.
All right, man. Thank you for coming.
See ya.
Have a good one. Knock, knock. Hello, Hercules with your big empire. Can I please come inside and spread my...
This man said I got school tomorrow, bruh.
Okay.
Sorry, bro, he did not even sound like a grown up.
Bother you, man. Sorry. I'll try again another time. Sorry, man. Khosros. Hi, Khosros. Hi, can I just talk to the Persians?
Bro, Khosros, this man.
God and the prophets and stuff. Oh, no? You want too busy worshiping fire? Sorry about that, man. I'll come back next time. My bad, man. I don't mean to bother you, man. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when he would go to battle, his enemies, Allah would strike fear in his enemies 3 months in advance. Feel that aura, man. Feel that aura. He would strike fear in his enemies 3 months in advance. Come on, man. That's tough. That's tough, man.
I guess the first question I would be is it.
All right. I think this is another video that I got to react to in the future. Interesting video there. God damn. I am going to most likely go and sleep, to be honest. I am just so tired, y'all. And this video made it even worse because it was like the things I had to wrap my brain around. I was like, what the freak? Make sure to like and subscribe if you made it all the way here. Consider a donation because I don't even know if I'm gonna make any money off this video. I'm gonna be honest with you. So I mean, if you binge watch my content, you like what I have to say, support would be good. You can also support me by joining the channel membership. But this is for active viewers. I don't just say any and everybody. I always say like active viewers. This is for you guys. The people who care more about me and actually watch my videos. And it's only 99 cents a month. Especially if you have a lot of suggestions for me. It's hard for me to process words because I'm tired as hell. But with all that being said though, God damn. Look, thank you for watching. Goodbye. My brain cannot function.